Welcome back to this fossil of a game. Now, I've done virtually everything in Miner's Haven, so the only thing I can do now is make top list, and any suggestions that you guys have, whether it be challenges or top 5 lists, so throw them in the comment section below. My eyes are spread. Now, with that said, this is the top 10 best reborns, so I don't know, I think you might find it interesting. If you guys have reborns that you find more useful than the top 10 I have here, well, that's the power of opinions, so it doesn't matter. Number 10 on this list will be the Dark Magic. Now, the reason I have the Dark Magic is just because it's simply a solid furnace that you can get at an early life that does great multiplier at an early life, which is 45, and its size. It is tiny, which means you can have even a one-line setup in this scenario, and it'll be working great. Here's a scenario that would be what it'd be used for. Now, this obviously isn't going to give me amazing money. I think I could even put a blaster on this side. Oh, I need one more space. Which I could make, but I'm not going to. But, like, say you have a lot more than just this. This is a really tiny furnace. Its default multiplier is 12 times, I believe, and its swole multiplier is 45. It's one of the only furnaces on this, and should deserve the number 10 spot because it's just good. Good for its size, good for its time, and yeah, that's it. Number 9 will be the Big Bertha. Now, the reason I put this at number 9 is simply because it's a really solid multiplier, and it's fairly easy to use. Now, this is one of the most common examples of it being... Good God, it is dark. This is one of the most common examples of it being used. Another example is the ore launch. The best thing about this example is that generally it works just fine and it goes right in. So that's an easy 12. This is 12 times, just easy right here. And you can get the Big Bertha as early as life 10. 12 times is very good for that early. Number 8 will be, you've seen the mine in this video already, it's the Newtonium mine. Now, the thing is, with the Newtonium mine, it's like, you see the money and it's like, well, that's good, but it's not, you know, great. Like, it's not blow away money. But the thing about the Newtonium mine is that you can get it as early as life 5. And if you get it at life 5, it is basically a GG. Because all you would need is Schrodinger's, basically, and you're looking at some rebirthing. Not only that, but it's not a lightweight ore, which means if you have blasters, it won't be obliterated the second that it hits a blaster. Lastly, just freaking look at it. Now, this is a bad example because it's 3,000 times brighter than it should. It just looks like neon yellow Elmo Barney Big Bird right now. But that's okay, because you can still tell that it's beautiful. Or bright and obnoxious because of the darkness, but it's a well-deserving mine and deserves to be on a list of top best things. This is the example of how it doesn't just get obliterated by ores. It stays pretty solid. Number 7 has to be the Dragonglass mine, just because if you keep grinding it, the price gets juicy really, really quickly. And it's also a decent looking mine. Not only that, but it also doesn't get obliterated by ores because it's a rather heavyweight ore. So you could use this in line setups and not worry about anything. Because look how many you're getting past with 5 Dragon Blasters. This also has a great default ore value of 4 billion, and that's with one single click. So even though I have like nostalgia for the Newtonium mine, I can't deny which mine is better. However, I don't like to click, so I might end up using the Newtonium mine anyway. It depends on how good your setup is in that case. Number 6 is a tie between the Dragon Blaster and the Big Bad Blaster. If I had to give one an edge, it'd probably be the Big Bad Blaster because you could use more of them in a smaller space other than the Dragon Blaster. But if you're not intending on using many blasters anyway, the Dragon Blaster would obviously be superior. They're just good. They're easy money that you can just throw on a side of generally a catalyst, and you just win. You just bank. You know, take an ore like the Newtonium mine. Take the ×4 that's with the catalyst. You know, an ore that's worth small billions. with a few few, quote-unquote, blasters, it immediately becomes trillions. Now, obviously, you're not going to have nearly as many ores, but trust me, it makes out in the end. You use blasters basically until Morning Stars came out. Blasters were the meta. I hate using that word, but it's true. But yeah, just simply a great upgrader with very few problems other than the fact that they blow up your ores. But, you know, you got to take that risk for the juice. Number 5 is the Gate of Eclipse. Now, the thing with this is it is an excellent upgrader at the start of your setups. I would say it's something you want to put at the start of your setups rather than at the end, because at the start of your setups, just for the fact that it can give you that 1 quadrillion upgrade. Now, it's like, well, what's so crazy about that? And it's like, well, you can have a default ore of just 1 quadrillion. Now, take that through a basic, like, Life 200 setup without Morning Stars, and you can easily skip a few lives just with this item alone. Now, if you put it near the end of your setup, it's kind of not detrimental, but just not nearly as effective, because then it's just, you know, not nearly as great as it could be with a 1 quadrillion upgrade. Even if you don't get it, I mean, you're still getting times 10 upgrades and stuff like that. 2 flaws with this upgrader. 1, it's obviously huge. And secondly, you get it fairly late in the game at life 150. But even then, I see me using this a ton in setups. So for example, you would have like a True Overlord device, and, you know, your Quantum Clockwork past this. And let's get a decent furnace, like let's throw the Dark Magic here for instance. You'll notice the trillion ores and the quadrillion. And then what's that? You notice that 20 quintillion ore in there. That would be the one that got the 1 quadrillion upgrade. And that's why you use this upgrader. And that's why it is number 5 on this list. Number 4 is the Symmetrium Mine. Now, after reviewing this list, I probably wouldn't have put it this high, because I made this list in like 16 seconds. However, it is still pretty useful. Now, obviously, it's worth a little bit more than Newtonium, but not enough to really, like, mention. But I mentioned it anyway. Now, the strong things about this is that you can get this mine fairly early in the game, and it works with cell furnaces. But the best part about it is that it does not react to fire. So you can use this with blasters, for instance, and it just won't care. It's just like, oh, that's fire. Oh. Well, it can get blown up still. That's very easy to still happen. But it just... oh. It's a light ore, by the way. But yeah, you normally use this, though, for Morning Stars. And that is what you use it for. It just glitched, so I'm just going to ignore that. Now, frankly, I don't know so much about the Symmetrium Mine, but definitely its evolved one is especially useful for this sort of thing. So just the convenience of this mine is what rather puts it so high on this list. But the main... so the example of it tanking, for instance, you know, Stars, it obviously works. Blasters, it tanks. And yeah, that's basically it. Symmetrium Mine's pretty useful for that sort of development. Number 3 will be the Dreamer's Anguish, just because of how easily it can just boost you through the early portion of the game, paired with either Symmetrium or Dragon Glass. It gives you some pretty undeniable money. Now, I have 5 duodecillion, so it's going to give me more than it regularly would. But let's show this with a more practical example. You can get through some lives with the Dreamer's Anguish. If you get it early, that is. If you don't get it early, then it's not that useful. It's one con. And since it's pretty rare, you have to be fairly lucky to get it. That's really all there needs to be. It's a high multiplier cell furnace. It looks pretty nice. And it can juice you in the very early part. It can juice you in the very early portions of the game. Number 2 will be the Morning Stars, just because they're essential. Obviously, it's not a very amazing upgrader. It's just an objective upgrader. Like, you need this in order to get some stuff, usually. It's basically just, you use this, you get 1 NVG, I think it is, or NV something. NV something. That's its cap, and this is used to get True Overlord devices. That is what it's used for. It would be stupid to not have it on this list because it's It's money. Just get money with this. Enjoy. Obviously, I wish we didn't have to depend on this for the late portion of the game and the tedious time that you have to spend waiting for your money to juice up with this. But if that's how it has to be done, then that's the item you'd use for it. You should already know what number 1 is. It's the Tesla Rosetter. When this thing first came out, it was like a new experience. It was like, first it was hard. It was just death because it took me a while to get it. And when I got it, it was a different world. Now, essentially what this thing does is it allows you to reset any upgraders that would only be able to be used once. So, oh, times 10. Big nope on that. You can't do it again. Throw in a Tesla, however, it can be used again. And suddenly your $20 ore turns into a $200 ore. A times 10 upgrader, just with this. And that's for one upgrader. Do you know how many upgraders are in this game? Just look through my list. That's how many upgraders are in this game. And that's how many upgrades this thing can have. It's even better than Morningstars, I gotta say. Especially if you pair it with either the Ultimate Sacrifice or the Final Upgrader. Nothing beats this. It looks nice. A little dated, I gotta admit, but it's nice. And it would be stupid to not have it on this list. I'm going to show an example of why this is number 1. And this is only 4 upgraders. And default, I get 1.7 octillion. Now, if we were to throw a Tesla in here, whether it be the evolved one or the normal one, because the evolved one doesn't really do that much anything, doesn't really do that much of anything special other than it's smaller. Now, all of you already know that it's great. But just for those who don't know, you go from 1 octillion or 2 octillion to 171 nonillion just with this. That's like what? Like a 10,000 times difference? And that's just with a few select items? That's why this is number 1. Not only that, but it also resets tags. So if you have like a on fire ore passing on through, why did the conveyor not go through? So if you have an ore that's on fire and it's head on through, it's gonna live if I had faster conveyors for it. Bam, it lives. It resets it. Now that's the other use for it. So, with that, this list is finally complete. What'd you think of my list? Did you agree with it? Did you think it was hot garbage diapers? Post it in the comment section. This is a basic, simple, just trash video to shove out there. Here you go. Enjoy. I'm Waluigi. Thank you for watching. Give me other top lists to do. I'm doing the top 10 worst Reborns too. That'll be a video that comes out in a few days after this one. Thanks for watching, boys, girl, boys. Bye. Bye. Now I'm gonna go record the worst Reborns one.